right. I don't know if my camera's pointed in the right direction. I don't know if my sound is on. So this is really just an experiment. I've been taking a lot of classes to get my certificates in Neurographica, which I'm not really going to go into because I'm not that educated on it yet. I'm still working towards my certificates. There's a bunch of different certificates, and I only have the first one so far. So I have a lot more to learn. But me being an artist, it inspired me to turn my Neurographica art into or Neurographica learnings into art. Normally you're supposed to be using pencil or marker, but I've decided to use some watercolors as well. But just to kind of incorporate the watercolors into my Neurographica art, I decided to use my watercolor markers. So I'm kind of hitting two birds with one stone. So it is a marker, but it does turn into watercolor once you apply the water to it. And I'm going to be using this little brush that came with my set. You just fill this little part up here with water, and if you gently squeeze it, some water comes out like that. I don't know if you can see it on my palm here, but water does come out of the tip there. So I am eventually going to turn my my Neurographic art into just plain watercolor art. So here we go. I am using my Tombow watercolor markers. I picked out just 4 different colors here: a purple, a violet, more of a limey green, and this teal color. So in Neurographic art, you're supposed to start with your Neurographic lines first. This is more of a visual meditation. So it's not going to be that we're just making a beautiful picture here. This is actually more of the process than the outcome. So we're going to be making something beautiful in the end, but don't get upset if it's not beautiful, because that's not the intent here. The intent is just to more have a visual meditation of how you're feeling. But I am not going to get into any of that. Like I said, I don't really know too much about it yet, but I do know that it is beautiful, and I wanted to turn it into art. So I'm going to take my teal color here, and again, these are watercolor markers, and you're supposed to start from one side of the page and slowly, in a curved manner, go to the other side of the page. So I'm just going to lightly take the tip, and don't really apply too much pressure. And actually it helps if your hand is a little bit even further away from the tip, because you don't have as much, what am I trying to say? Showing where it goes. It's just a little bit more of a loose line. So I'm just going to go, and it's supposed to be kind of shaky. And you're supposed to have an intent with this. I am not doing really an intent today. I just wanted to kind of show you the process a little bit. All right. And then you can do a couple different lines. And this is my watercolor paper. You can do this on regular paper also, if they're not watercolor markers, because you don't really want to apply water to like copy paper, because it'll get really soggy. So use something a little bit thicker if you're using watercolor markers. But if you're using regular markers or regular pencil, go ahead and use any paper you want. So I'm going to do several lines here. And again, I'm barely putting pressure on my marker. And I'm letting the marker go wherever it feels like it needs to go. So you kind of want to go against the grain. Like if your hand wants it to go up, try and resist it and make your hand go down. So it's very unintentional. And just let your lines go wherever they want. I'm going to do a few more. And if you hear all that noise in the background, I have a puppy, and he feels like he needs to be with me all the time, and he is chewing a bone right next to me. So I apologize for that noise. I tried to get him out of the room, but he wants to be right by me. Okay, so now wherever these intersect, you're going to round them. So take your marker and just kind of round them. In Neurographica, you don't really want, well, what I've learned so far, you don't really want all these corners. You're supposed to harmonize the painting, and circular, round, wavy motions are very harmonious. So harmonious, I should say. So it's a shape that you want. You want to get rid of all those points. So just go around and kind of go around your painting and just kind of round all those little intersections where the lines meet. You're just supposed to soften up all those corners. And there is a reason for all of this. Like I said, I'm not going to get into the specifics of Neurographica. I'm just going to show you the beauty of it, the art form of it. And again, when you're actually doing Neurographica, it's not about the pretty picture. It's about like a visual meditation of how you feel that day, or things that maybe you want to bring into your life, feelings you want to get rid of, feelings you want to bring in. So there's a whole process. Each shape means something. But I'm not going to get into that, like I said. Today is just about showing you how pretty it could be. And the key word there is could be, because not all Neurographica art is pretty. That's not the intent of it. So I'm just going to finish up with all my little rounding here. And if you're following along, use any color you want, any paper you want. This is not supposed to be a stressful project. This is supposed to relax you. I try to start every day and end every day with a Neurographica drawing or painting. It just kind of ends the day nicely, or begins the day nicely. All right. And I think I did pretty much every intersection I could. Oh, here's one. And even if you don't do all the intersections, you can always go back in later. All right, I think I did most of them. So now the beauty with these Tombow pens, markers, are it's got the thick side and the thin side. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do some more line work. You could take a different color if you want. I always find it interesting to have the same color but different thicknesses. It just brings a little bit more interest to your drawing or painting. And again, barely applying pressure. Just let the marker go where it really wants to. Let it intersect if it needs to intersect. It can move all across your page. Don't really worry where it's going. You're really just supposed to start from one end to the other of the page. Now, I don't know how many colors I'm going to be bringing into this painting, just because for the sake of the video, I may not finish this painting today, or at least on camera. I may just finish it later. All right, and here again, intersect all those little lines, all those little corners. Bring harmony to your painting. Where things intersect, sometimes it creates conflict, and you just want to make it harmonious, calm. And the reason it's called Neurographica The word neuro meaning all the little lines, like little lines in your brain, your cells, you know, it kind of imitates little cellular structures here. So that's where they got the word neuro from. And graphica, obviously, graphic, art, line, movement. So I'm not going to bore you with rounding all these little corners because I could be here for hours. You could just get wrapped up in this. That's another thing with this practice here. Time goes by really fast because you just start getting wrapped up in all the little movements and figuring out where you need to round or... And again, it's a meditative, it's a visual meditation. So that's why you can get wrapped up in it really easily. I'm going to do a few more here just so I can show you as I move on. And if you need to follow the line, go for it. You can thicken up your lines, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes I find it's best to even outline each individual little shape. Like let's say this one here. I just go ahead and I'll outline it, but I will bypass all those corners and make them round. And if your line gets thicker, no big deal. You could fill it in. You don't have to fill it in. And then this is kind of what it looks like, but obviously I have a whole other painting half of my painting to finish there, but I'll do that at a different time. I don't want to bore you with that. And I'm going to take a different color. I'm going to do the same thing. This is more of a violet. I'm hoping you can see this color on camera. And it's really pretty because where these watercolor markers meet the other color, it kind of changes the color automatically. I don't know if you can see, my marker was hitting the green here and it kind of turned into this bluish color instead of purple. And actually I must still have a little bit of blue on the tip that it's carrying along with it, or green I should say, because my line is still blue. And you can do as many lines as you want. There's no set amount. It's whatever feels good for you. You do want to try and fill up most of your page though. I find that when most of my page has some kind of paint or marker or pencil on it, it just looks better. But if you feel like you only want to do part of your page and that's what is calling you to do, is just part of your page, then that's fine too. All right, I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of this lime green, and I'm going to do it in the thin line work. And you would go ahead and round all those as well. The purple that we just did, go ahead and round them. It will take you a long time to round everything, all colors, like the green to the purple and the green to the darker green. If you want to go ahead and round all those, it will take you some time. What I find in these paintings is if I do like the thinner green and the thicker green, I'll just round those together. And if I just did the thicker purple and like a lighter, thinner purple, I would just round those together. But if you want to sit here and round everything, all colors, you totally can. That'd be really beautiful as well. Again, I'm not applying that much pressure. I'm letting the line go wherever it needs to go. Kind of resist, like I said before, if you want your line to go up, try and make it go down. Just kind of resist it a little bit. And you can get into some really pretty color combinations too. Okay. I'm going to do a thicker green just so I can round some of the green with the thinner green. just think about all the little senses that your body is starting to feel. Are you starting to calm down? Were you anxious before this? Were you excited before this and it's starting to calm your nerves down a little bit? It's supposed to be like a meditation here. And then go ahead, and I'm going to take my thin side again. Go ahead and round all that as well. So I am rounding my green now. My thin green to my thick green. Now, like I said before, if you want to round it to every single color, that'd be really pretty too. It's just going to take you a lot longer. But again, if this is about meditation, maybe you have that kind of time and that's what you want to do. And so as soon as you start rounding these little edges here, it brings a little bit more harmony to your painting. Trying to see where the green intersects the green. Right here. And again, you can trace your lines. I think I did pretty much where my green intersects. There's still maybe a few like this one. But again, you can always come back later, because after I stop this video, I am going to go ahead and round everything, because I hadn't rounded my purple yet. All right, but I do want to show you, oh, one more thing. So if there is, in Neurographica, it's called an emphasis. And if there is a part of your painting or drawing that brings attention to you, and you want to emphasize it, what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to circle it. And I see a lot of movement right in this area here. So I'm going to take my darker purple and I'm going to draw a circle around it. And I'm going to emphasize it. It's called your emphasis. Now there's a whole meaning behind that as well that I'm not going to get into today. Again, my intent for this video is just to show you the beauty of it, not the meaning. And I'm going to go ahead and round it to some of my lines here. Now I know that I'm doing purple into a lighter purple or a green. You can take the inside color if you want to and round that out like the green here and round it out. So it's kind of hard when you have two different colors, but just do the best you can. And if you don't want to round everything, you don't have to. It's your drawing, your painting. But I'm going to round a little bit here. And it actually looks better when you're rounding it to the darker colors, because my purple is so dark that when I round it to the green, the lighter green, it doesn't look as right. So maybe I'll just bring a little bit of that purple in to my circle a little bit here. Now at this point you can call this a drawing, not a painting, but we're going to turn it into a painting in a second. And you can round everything on the outside of the circle as well. It just pulls your painting in a little bit, or your drawing, depending on whatever medium you're using. but it just makes them come together. And as soon as we add the water, you'll see. Because right now, it looks like I'm making all these pointy shapes out there, which is not the intent to this. We were trying to round off our colors. Okay. All right, just a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little, and you can use a regular brush if you want to also, but I find, like, especially if you're on the go and you want to make these paintings on the go, this is a really nice tool to have because it's got the water in there and you don't have to worry about bringing a container of water with you. I am going to start with my darker green, and I'm going to add a little bit of water. I'm going to trace my line, and if you feel like your hand wants to go off that line, it could definitely go off that line and veer off course and do its own little line. Watch the water flow, watch it take the marker with it. Think of it as like a little river. And then I've got my paper towel here because if I go onto another color, you just kind of want to wipe that off a little bit. And even if you're not going on to another color, see how here it picked up the purple and it made a little bit more of a blue. I don't want to carry that blue over, so I just kind of wipe it off a little bit and start over. Carry that water with you. And I will show you a finished piece when I'm done with this one, because I did pretty much finish one already. Now I am being taught with just pens and pencil and marker. So it was my idea to bring some watercolor into this. But if you don't feel comfortable with the watercolor, you don't need to do it with the watercolor. Just thicken up your brush strokes or your pencil strokes or whatever. Just thicken them up in certain areas. And look how pretty that is. When the water hit the purple, it dragged the purple with it. So then you've got the purple and the green together right there. Now I've tried this with watercolor pencils, and that's fine too, but I find the markers just to be a little bit more flowing. The pencils sometimes leave all those like little scratch marks, which could be interesting as well. I mean, if you like all those little, almost like little indent marks that it leaves in your paper, that could be pretty too if you want more texture. And then if you want to bring some down, you can, and fill in some areas, but we're going to do that in a little bit. But I just wanted to show you, you can always come in. Let's say you see a shape here and you wanted to fill in that shape. You can always do that as well. And lift some of that back up. If you think it got a little bit too dark, you can lift it up a little bit. But we're going to get into that in a minute. So I'm not going to do all these lines because I don't want to bore you to death. But you can go ahead and do all the lines if you want to. Just watch it drag. Now another thing is you can even start rounding off these as well. So where all your blue or green lines meet, or purple, whatever color you're choosing to do, just have them round off as well. So you don't have any hard edges even on those brush strokes. You just want a lot of harmony in this painting. You don't want real hard edges, sharp corners. And you can round the green to the purple, or the green to the darker purple, or you could just leave it green to green. This is your painting, so you do what you want. And it's beautiful when all the colors just start to mix together. And if you see some shapes in here, like I said before, go ahead and fill them in. If it's calling for a little bit of color in that shape that you see, do it. Soften up those edges. You could even color in the whole thing if you want. Now it is nice to leave a little bit of white on your paper. But if you want your whole page covered, that's your call. Now I'm going to, I would go ahead and fill the rest of this in, but I'm going to go ahead and show you my purple here, my emphasis circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some water. Now this is a really dark color. You did not have to pick a dark color. So you're softening up all those triangle little marks we had made where we were trying to round it. You're softening it up now. You're going right over them, letting them bleed into the rest of your painting. And if you feel like that line needs to be pulled out, pull it out. Look how pretty that is. Now I'm going to be shifting my paper here like this, just so it's easier on camera to show you. Otherwise my hand would be in the way. But you can leave your page. You don't have to rotate your page if you don't want to. And if it bleeds off the side of the page like this circle is, let it do it. Again, neurographic art would be more just the one stroke all the way around, like a continuous stroke. And again, that's not my intent to show you neurographic art today. I just want to show you how pretty it could be. There's so many different algorithms that you're supposed to be following in neurographic art that I'm still in the process of learning. But I saw the beauty in it and I wanted to show you maybe in watercolor. So I'm just bringing my purple line out, and of course it's touching my green lines, so it's getting this like greenish tint around my purple here. Which if you're into the chakras, which I'm really into the chakras. It's something I'm learning as well as my neurographic art. They're kind of going hand in hand together. Every color of the rainbow means something. And the green is your heart chakra, and your purple is your crown chakra. And I'm not going to really get into those, but it's really neat how my heart chakra is circling my my crown chakra right now, and everything means something. So it's neat to just think of all the meanings. And here again, I'm just rounding a little bit, especially like the darker green lines. I'm just rounding them into my painting, just so it kind of flows in a little bit. So I'm just taking my marker, or not my marker, my brush. And you could even follow that line if you want to, or you could just do the little point there where you're rounding into here. But I find it nice just to even bring that out a little bit, thicken up that line a little bit. And you can do it with your other lines too. It doesn't just have to be the green. Although the green in this painting works really well because it's such a nice dark color with that dark purple. So it looks really nice with those colors coming out. And you could do the same thing on the end that we just did. So if you want to go ahead and start rounding some of your colors and bring them in. Now, if you wanted to close up some of that white space, you can go ahead and actually I'll just show you. Bring some water to your tip and start blending it inward like that too. So see how it's blurring the line there a little bit? Or you don't have to. So this is like the blurred line, and this is the not blurred line. So if you just want to round, you can do that as well. And if one color looks like it's just standing out too much, just blend it in with that color line. Like here, for instance, my dark purple and my light purple are meeting up. Just kind of blend them so they flow together. Because you're trying to round one color into the other, and sometimes it doesn't work. Normally when you round, it's the same color rounding into itself. But we're just experimenting here. And you can go ahead and round over here as well. And you can bring some of it up if you want to. Start lightening up some of those, and thickening up, I should say, some of those little marks you had made before. You could start filling in areas here as well. Taking a little bit of water and I'm just bleeding it out, or bleeding it in, I should say, into my shape. So if you see certain shapes that are calling to your attention, just start filling them in. You don't have to worry about what it's going to be. Does it look like a heart? Does it look like a flower? Don't worry about that. Then you're not really following along with how this is supposed to be a meditation process. You just want the shapes just to appear where they appear, and then at the end of the painting, you just kind of try to see if anything makes sense to you. Maybe some shapes will appear to you towards the end of the painting, but right now, if you're starting to see shapes in there, just kind of ignore it at this point. And I'm just dragging each color into each other a little bit here. It's wherever your heart, your mind want to bring the color. It doesn't need to make sense at this point. It doesn't need to make sense ever, really. Look how pretty that is. I feel like I have a little more calling to bring some color down here. Now I'm moving kind of fast on this painting just because for the sake of the video. I will probably finish this drawing at a later time. Now if you want to bring some of the purple in, grab some of that purple and bring it in. If you wanted to bring the green back out, grab the green and bring it back out. Just depends on what color you grab first. And for some reason, I'm feeling called to add a lot of color to this circle. And even though it started with my purple, it's going more towards the green right now, which is my heart chakra. And the beauty with watercolor is it just flows. You don't know where it's going to land. You're just adding the water and the pigment just kind of takes on a mind of its own. It almost has a marble feeling to it. Really pretty. All right, I'm going to lighten up or thicken up some of these lines here too. And then if you see that there's some sharp edges created again where all these colors are intersect, just go ahead and just start rounding them a little bit. And I've never done a live video before, so I don't even know if this is working. I hope it is, but if it's not, I'll just create another one. And if some of your lines, your brush strokes turn out a little bit rough, you can go ahead and blend them out a little bit more if you want to. Just means you didn't have enough water on your brush. I'm just slowly squeezing, lightly squeezing this. And the water's coming out. Okay, I got most of my darker green lines. I left a few nice and crisp in here. And then I can start going ahead and making some shapes out here too. I'm just squeezing my brush a little bit, and I'm letting the pigment of the marker, of the watercolor marker, just follow along. I think once my painting dries, I'm going to add more of that lighter purple. I want to bring out a little bit more of that lighter purple. But if I do it right now, everything's just going to bleed together. Look how pretty. So when this is all nice and dried, another thing that I did was I went in with metallic Sharpies or any kind of marker. I chose a gold and a silver on, actually, where's my painting? Let me show you the one that I just finished. So this is one that I just finished. So I brought in a little bit more yellows in this one, but I used pretty much the same colors. So I went in and I just started placing some gold metallic lines as well, neurographic lines. And I did do a little bit more of a design here around this purple. So once you start adding designs to it, it's more Zentangle than neurographic. You don't want to add too many patterns and designs to it because it's not the point of it. So this one kind of veered off course from being neurographic. But again, I just wanted to show you how pretty it was with all the lines blending together. And then there's different shapes in here, which in Neurographica, all shapes mean something, which I'm not going to get into. But I just wanted to show you how pretty this could be. So here's my other one that I was just working on. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if this video worked out, this is my very first live. I've never done live before, and I'm hoping to do more in the future. So thanks for watching.